Hola clase, ¿cómo están ustedes? En este video vamos a hablar de dos cosas, la conjugación y el verbo gustar. So our class in this video, we're talking about two things, conjugation and the verb gustar. And so I want to go right to talking about el verbo gustar. So we're in unidad 3, and two of the things, not everything, but two of the things we're talking about in this unit are conjugación de verbos, and then la escuela y la diversión also. But I want to just focus on two things, that conjugation and the verb gustar. So the first thing we need to really nail down before we can go any further with conjugación, before we can go any further with conjugation, is the identification of roots, right? So we have all these verbs, and they're in the infinitive form. They're what you see on the screen. There are infinitivos. Okay, so we have all these infinitivos. Let's make sure we can identify the roots of the infinitivos. Why? Because if you can identify the roots, then you can conjugate the verb. All right, so we have marcar, abrir, saltar, asistir, quedar, aprender, fortalecer, ayudar, razonar, bailar, instruir, conversar, creer, creer otra vez, doblar, decidir, enseñar, escribir, texmear, escuchar, estudiar, prachacapear. So if you've had any experience with Espanol, you know that I made up two other verbs on here, but there's a method behind the madness there. So you have to find the raiz. And what's the raiz? Remember, I talked about three parts to a verb. There's the infinitivo, there's the raiz, and then there's the terminación, those three parts. What you get first is the infinitive. It's the equivalent of saying, instead of marcar, to mark, or to, sometimes we use this verb as to dial or something, or to like dial a number, marcar, to touch. The score, marcar un gol. So marcar, basically to mark. And so what's the raíz of this verb? It's everything but the last two letters. Get rid of those last two letters. Then you can put on the endings. It's an AR verb. So the endings, the possibilities of the endings are going to be 6, as for every verb. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. And the way you know what the endings are for the particular kind of verb it is you look back at the end of Unit 2. Look at those conjugations of trabajar, comer, vivir. They are models for how to translate or how to conjugate, all of these other verbs. So we have abrir. Follow the same rules. Take off the last two letters, and what are you left with? Abr. Now, make sure you're not saying abro, just to let a vowel sound, like just to release the pressure by saying a vowel. Abra, abra. No, the root is abr. So let me show you the rest of these. I've highlighted them in rojo, in red. They are the roots of the infinitives. The roots, you can think of it as like a tree trunk. There are 6 branches that come out of the trunk. And I know that's not the case for most trees, but if you can imagine a tree trunk extending upward, and then out of that trunk comes 6 branches. Sorry about the colleagues in the background. Anyway, so all the 6 branches there are the endings. Here are the 6 branches for the verb abrir. You can have, depending on the subject, whoever it is, we don't know. It could be o, it could be es, it could be e, it could be imos, it could be is, or it could be en. Now, how do you know which one of those 6 to use? We got to have a subject. Right now, there's an infinite amount of possibilities. Well, there's 6. That's why we call it infinitivo. We don't know who the subject is. Once we slap a subject on there, for example, yo, the only one that can go in there is o, yo abro. We do the same in English, although in English it's a little more confusing. So what's the root of saltar? Salt. Asistir, asist. Quedar, qued. Aprender, aprend. Fortalecer, fortalece. Ayudar, ayud. Razonar, razón. Bailar, bail. instruir, instruí, but instru. Conversar, converse. Kind of sounds like a shortened version of an English word, right? Converse, right? Creer, cree. There it is again. Doblar, doble, which actually in English, doblar is to fold or to bend. Decidir, decide, to decide. Enseñar, enseñe, not a cognate, but to teach. Escribir, escribe, to scribble or write. Texmexear, this is one of my invented verbs. It follows the same rules, right? Texmexeo, texmexeas, texmexea, texmexeamos, texmexeais, texmexean. Hey, guess what? I invented that verb. You can too, because the rules are so well designed. Escuchar, escuch, estudiar, estudi. It can end in a vowel sound if it's part of the root, right? Estudi. Prachacapear. This is the other verb that I invented. This was my first one, I think. Yeah, way back in 2004. Okay, so that's for conjugation of verbs. You gotta get the root. If you don't understand where to cut off or where to isolate the root, you'll be going around in circles, and this is as far as you'll go. And I know you all are capable of going much further. So you can do it. Watch this video in the link in it uses some descriptions and uses the verb gustar sometimes. So,
volvemos a Cassandra Publicidad.
Okay, so watch that. You gotta go through the vocabulario. As I mentioned in the previous video, los meses, they're pretty much like meses in English, except for an extra vowel or two. And in order to tell your cumpleaños, for example, someone says, ¿Cuándo es tu cumpleaños? Mi cumpleaños es el, you want to be able to express today, el 15 de febrero, or whenever your cumpleaños is. And so these are super important as you're going through Unidad 3. And here you have the verbs that you want to really be able to isolate the roots on. I'll go ahead and do them for you real quick, right? You can just follow along. Aprend, ayud, cumpl, descans, describe, dibuj, necesite, pag, patin, or pint. I was thinking patinar, but that's pintar. Pint. Practique, tom, vend, viaj, vive. Okay, so those are the roots of those verbs. You're going to see them in Canvas. Okay, the verb gustar, you have to think of this as almost backwards. Instead of saying, you want to just ignore the word like here. That's the way we say it in English, but it's passive. The verb is passive in Espanol. So it's just instead of saying, I like chocolate, we want to say, chocolate pleases me. So gustar, it is literally to please or to be pleasing. That's the conjugation of the verb. We use it in the negative sense, like something is disgusting, that disgusts me. We're passive. What's doing the disgusting? Is it you, or is it the thing that you've eaten or seen? Oh, yuck, I don't like that. That is doing something to me. What's it doing to you? It's disgusting me, right? So pizza pleases you. To sing pleases you. Cats please you. And so that's what we're doing here. We have gustar, gustan. Why do we have gustan instead of gustar sometimes? Because the thing that is doing the action is actually plural. Los perros gustan a mí. Dogs are pleasing to me. To sing pleases you. So in Espanol, we say it, in the order that you see it here. We just, as if you're an English speaker, you have to think about it backwards. Me gusta el chocolate, me gusta estudiar, me gustan los perros, te gusta la pizza, te gusta cantar, te gustan los gatos. It's gustan because los gatos. Le gusta el dinero, le gusta comer, le gustan las películas. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video right there. I have to go pick up my son on the other side of the world. But I do want to get that information out to you all, and hopefully it'll help you in what you're doing for verb conjugation and for using the verb gustar. The instructions, maybe you have a hard time at the beginning of the first attempt because of the instructions. Take a second look at the instrucciones. It's not that you don't understand Espanol or the verb gustar or conjugation. It's probably that you don't understand the instructions. So maybe talk with a partner, talk with a colleague in the class, and maybe that'll help with understanding the instructions, because it's probably how to do the exercise, not the concept itself. Okay, bien. This is only one video. I couldn't get all the information out that I wanted to about the verb gustar, but I'll send another one out and hopefully it will help you. Hasta luego.